Welcome, Browns fans. This is the Village Elliott. I am the Oracle of Sports. I want to take today to review the Browns quarterback room, where, man, I really called this one. In all modesty, I foretold the future. I told the Browns exactly what was going to happen, what they needed to do. But as is often the case with the gift of prophecy, the prophet is cursed because the people will never listen. I told the Browns exactly what they needed to do. And by the way, I'm grateful to have the royalty-free music. In this case, today I used Call to Adventure by Scott Buckley. Thank you, Scott. It's really nice. Gives us an appropriate introduction to our topic, the Browns quarterback room, which is too little and too late. I don't know how to describe what the Browns have done this year. They've been in a state of denial about quarterbacks since forever. They really took the mindset that we're going to just gamble on Deshaun Watson and place our Super Bowl bets on that and just believe that we're going to be able to get away with it. From the onset, let's be clear that the Haslams want to win the Super Bowl. They have made the conscious decision that they would rather concentrate their resources and try to win the Super Bowl rather than kind of spread things out and have the same team from year to year and maybe win 6, 7, 8, maybe sometimes 9 games, make the playoffs once every 4 or 5 years. They realize that their organization is not that strong, that they cannot make the playoffs year after year after year without a rebuilding period. Even the Patriots perhaps could not do that. It turned out that the strength of that organization was in no small measure built upon Tom Brady. And once Brady was gone, they were just a team. There needed to be a rebuilding period in which you accumulate draft picks and capital, salary cap capital, if you will, to save up all of that cap room so that you can spend money, overspend on free agents for several years in a row, and then make that run for the Super Bowl. But when it's over, baby, it's over, and you've got to go back and rebuild once again. So these things are like 5 or 6 year cycles, and the Browns are right in the peak of their cycle, maybe towards the end of it, and they're trying to extend it and keep the door open. But that's why they overpaid for Deshaun Watson. They knew that he wasn't worth the contract, so don't even bother to tell them that. They know that. But they thought, we just really want to solve the quarterback problem, and we're willing to bet that he can stay healthy. And if he can't, we understand that we've blown it and we're not going to win the Super Bowl without him. So what did they do? They said, well, we're not even going to worry about the backup quarterback position. We know that our goose is cooked without Deshaun Watson, and we're just really not going to worry about it. We're just going to assume that it's either Deshaun Watson or bust. That's our plan. But that isn't the right plan. What they needed to do was to fill out a quarterback room like everybody else. What they needed to do was to have 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. And remember also that they have expanded the practice squad. It used to be, I don't know what, like 8 players or something like that, and they gradually ratcheted it up. Now it's 16 players. 16 players. They say that quarterback is the most important position in football. So why can't there be one player? Cleveland, I'm just asking you for one player. Why can't they have one spot on the practice squad for a quarterback? Wouldn't that be a smart idea? Just one player? But no, they don't do that. They wait for Deshaun Watson to actually get injured, and then they bring in PJ Walker. and they decided that they're just going to use 2 quarterbacks. So what happened at the end of summer? They said, well, we got a really nice 6th-round draft pick. Of course, it's not until 2025, but we got that offer from Arizona for our guy, the Rocket Man, Joshua Dobbs. We think we'll take that draft pick out of the kindness of our hearts. We'll give Joshua a chance to become a starting quarterback in the NFL. Aren't we just really nice for doing that? We also believe in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who we drafted. I forgot whether it's the 5th, 6th round, but anyway, drafted him on day 3. And we believe in this kid, and we think he's actually better than Joshua Dobbs, but we're only going to go with 2 quarterbacks this season. Why? Because we're sure that Deshaun Watson is going to be healthy, and if he's not, we're not going to win the Super Bowl anyway. That's a rather defeatist attitude. There have been plenty of cases where Super Bowls have been won by second-string quarterbacks. Let us not forget that at one point, Tom Brady was a second-string quarterback. So was Kurt Warner a second-string quarterback. Trent Dilfer was, actually, he was a first-string quarterback for that year. But how about Jeff Hostetler? He was a second-string quarterback. And there were others. How about, what about the kid from Philadelphia? Carson Wentz was supposed to be the first-string quarterback, but Nick Foles was the guy that won the Super Bowl for them, wasn't he? And then we never heard from Nick Foles ever again. So, yeah, you can have a quarterback. It's not the preferred way to win. The second-string quarterback can't be as good as the first-string quarterback, but yes, you can win with a second-string quarterback and still win the Super Bowl. It has been done. It is foolish, just absolutely foolish, to just give up because you don't have your franchise quarterback. That is a losing mentality that, oh my gosh, we don't have a franchise quarterback and we're lost and we're going to give up. That is just, that kind of attitude makes me want to throw up. That is not really football at all. That's not how you run a front office. That's not how you run a coaching staff. That's not how you be a football fan, that we're going to give up because we don't have our pretty boy. No offense to Deshaun Watson, but if we don't have our franchise quarterback, we can't win. I mean, I don't care what team it is. That's a ridiculous attitude to take. Shame on you if you're the New York Jets, you're the Cincinnati Bengals, and you think that you cannot win without this one particular player, and it's time to give up, time to get draft picks. That's just absolutely ridiculous. It's pathetic. I mean, if it turns out that the second-string quarterback really can't play, fine, but let's give him a chance, not give up before he gets out there and starts to play. Hey, we got to take a commercial break. Let me do a commercial while we're doing the break. I have for you a commercial from the Browns, and let me see, get around to my monitor here. I want to present, share screen, and let's find my little PowerPoint. And from a slideshow, I'm getting better at this, but I'm still pretty slow, about old guys and computers. We talked about Be the Solution, Cleveland Browns program for social action that they've had for a number of years under Andrew Berry. We talked also about the fact that the Browns were social action. They were the first team in professional football to employ African-American players in the 1946 season. They were joined by the Los Angeles Rams, who were formerly, by the way, the world champion Cleveland Rams in 1945. And so the Rams also employed African-American players in 1946. So there were actually 4 players that broke the color line in 1946, right before Jackie Robinson broke the color line in professional baseball in 1947. So this was really a historic period in professional sports, and the Cleveland Browns were right there. They were the first, technically speaking, they played their games first, and with Paul Brown calling the shots. And remember, he was the coach at Ohio State, where they did not have a policy of racial discrimination, and they had African-American players. So there you go. Two of the players that the Browns had, Bill Willis and Marion Motley, made the Hall of Fame. All right, so the Browns, among other things, supported the Browns Foundation, which provides scholarships for deserving students, young students. And recently, David Njoku was representing the Cleveland Browns when they surprised two students, Mariana Lewis and Tashia Porter. I hope I pronounced those names properly. And they won $10,000 scholarships to further their careers. How about that? Education is very, very important. If you want to do something to support social action, you want to get involved in the communities in East Cleveland. By the way, that's where I was born back in the day, back in 1957. If you want to get involved, you've got to start with education and make sure that people are getting educated, and that it's not something that's just limited to one racial, ethnic, or religious group, that everybody is getting a chance. My late mother was one of the first Asian Americans to come to Greater Cleveland, or one of the first Korean Americans. She came in 1948 after World War II, before the Korean War. And she eventually became a teacher of English as a second language. And she used to tell people, her students, that America is a place where everybody gets a chance. And she took a dim view to students who came from, let us say, macho communities where they didn't want to have female tutors. And no, sorry, everybody gets a chance in America. But anyway, education, very, very important. Thank you, Cleveland. Thank you, Cleveland Browns. Thank you, David Njoku. Thank you, students. Now study hard. Show that you're worth it. Prove that they didn't make a mistake on you by investing in you. Earn that scholarship. All right, back to football. So the Browns didn't prepare when they knew that Deshaun Watson had a shoulder problem that might not get better, might get worse during the season. They hired P.J. Walker when Deshaun Watson actually couldn't play. They still maintained a two-quarterback system. They knew that their number two guy, their nominal number two guy, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, was undersized. He weighs less than Baker Mayfield. He's like 206 pounds or something like that. And, the reason why he wasn't drafted in the first round probably had a lot to do with the fact he was too small. And the perception is that, he might not survive in the NFL as a starter. That's why he was perceived as a backup. He didn't weigh as much as Johnny Manziel, smaller than Baker Mayfield. Let's see. And we didn't foresee any injury risk with this young man. I think he's very, very talented. But because of his size, man, you got to be thinking. Actually, even if you don't think of his size, the Pittsburgh Steelers always have three quarterbacks on their 53-player roster. If they have that, then Cleveland should do it too. Then with the 16-player roster on the practice squad, there should be somebody on the practice squad that's learning the playbook just for emergency situations. Now, I'm not dumping on them because they have a problem right now. I have been saying this. I have published this since day one, since last year, the year before that, and the year before that. This is what the Browns need to do, because sometimes an emergency situation can arise and they could be Super Bowl contenders, but they don't have a quarterback that's ready to play. Now, right now, it's Flacco mania, and we can't wait to see Joe Flacco become the next starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Now, I am not sure that Joe Flacco can actually play. Let's talk about what we actually know about Joe Flacco. I don't know that he tried out for a team this summer. I think he was retired. He played great last year. Browns fans remember that he led the New York Jets to a come-from-behind victory, and he threw for 300 yards in relief of Zach Wilson. So he's still got talent. There's no question about that. He's been riddled by injuries. He's 38 years old. What's he done lately to stay in football shape? Does anybody know? Was there any alternative discussed? I heard that they only brought in one candidate. So they're not really thinking about any other possibility or anybody else that might just be an alternative. That is stupid. Let's see. I'm trying to show the video of Joe Flacco. Here we go. Share screen. Window. Joe Flacco. Let's take a look at what we've got here with Joe. And let's just make this big as we can. Okay, here's Joe. Oh boy, Joe can play catch. This is really great. Let's move it up a little bit. He can throw the ball and play catch. He can throw to receivers on the run. Oh, this is nice. He can drop back 2 steps, throw the ball, and hit a receiver. Oh, okay. Boy, is wow. Wow. Okay, yeah, he can do that. Is that football shape? Oh, he can throw a long pass too. Look at that, boy. Is he in football shape? Is that football shape? Where's the part where we see that? Oh, okay, wow, okay, that one he threw fast. He can throw a fast pass. Oh boy. Okay, a little bit faster than a jog. Actually, drop back a little bit. There he goes, dropping back. La 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 la. Okay, I'm not sure that I'm buying this, sports fans. I'm just not sure that I'm buying this. Is Joe Flacco ready to play in an NFL game? I'm not talking about his innate ability. I'm sure that he has the ability, and that if he'd been training year round, that he'd be a pretty good quarterback. Has he been training year round? Is he in shape? Is he in football shape to be able to play? I believe in Flacco's ability, and I pointed out, to my friends that are New York Jets fans, that he's probably about as good a quarterback as they've had. They should never have gotten rid of him, never gotten rid of Mike White. They needed to have a veteran quarterback as an alternative to Zach, the future Wilson. That was dumb to, what they wanted to do was to get rid of the veteran competition so that they could coddle Zach Wilson, not have him feel threatened. We don't know whether he can play football or not, whether Joe Flacco can play or not. I think he could probably play if he has 8 weeks to get ready. Whether he can do it right now, I don't know. We have not seen any evidence that he can. The Browns didn't have any competition. They still do not have an adequate quarterback room. If DTR is injured And we think that he is. We're not sure that he's going to suit up on Sunday versus Los Angeles versus the Rams. All right, then that means that PJ Walker may be the starter and Flacco might be the only backup, and we don't know if he's physically able to play. Is he in shape enough that he can actually play an NFL game? I don't know. And there is no third string quarterback. There isn't any. I think it's Harrison Bryant. The Browns have not trained anybody to run basic plays out of their playbook. And I've been saying this all season long that they need to have somebody. I don't care who it is. Somebody needs to be on the practice squad, and maybe two people in case somebody gets signed away by another team. Just learn the playbook, learn how to throw some short passes and hand the ball off. This is a defensive team that can win an ugly football game as long as you don't turn the ball over. What's not, instead, what's happening, what we saw last week against Denver is a coach that believes that he has to use, incredible intelligence and flamboyant play calls in order to make up for the fact that he doesn't have a quarterback. We're going to do flea flickers and multiple handoffs and trick play after trick play and try to win with finesse and hope to God that we don't fumble 15 times in a row or something. And that's how we're going to win all of our games with quarterbacks that haven't played football with the team, have no practice with the team. I mean, this is crazy. They are not prepared. We do not have a prepared quarterback that's familiar with the playbook, and it's too late. It's too late. They should have been signing people and training them up just in case they needed him. Now it's too late. There is no reason why they couldn't have done it with 16 positions on the practice squad. They should have probably had 2 or 3 guys that they were training up to learn just the basics of the playbook. I understand why they don't want to teach them everything, because then they get signed away by the Bengals and the Steelers and the Ravens, and then they pump them full. They act basically like spies, like Jim Harbaugh's spies or something, and they learn all the tricks of the inside the playbook and stuff like that. So you don't want to get them too smart, but at least give them, let's say, 20 to 40 plays that they can really execute well, the simple stuff. Don't teach them any trick plays. Don't teach them, these exotic deep ball threat plays, just the very simple plays. Get them to know the Browns receivers and personnel so that they can function effectively in an offense. The more reps they get, the better. People should have been learning this stuff in summer training camp. They should have brought in about 6 guys and found maybe 4 or 5 that they can rely on that might be bouncing around the league and might become available at some point in case they need them. But, what instead they deny that anybody is unhealthy. Deshaun Watson, oh, no, he has no shoulder problem. No shoulder problem. We don't need to sign anybody. We're just going to go with 2 quarterbacks. That's all we need. The guy's so healthy. The fact that he's had 2 ACL injuries that were repaired surgically, we don't think he's susceptible to any kind of injury, and his shoulder is absolutely fine. There's no problem with the shoulder. There's no reason to think that there's going to be any kind of injury. DTR, we think, is day-to-day, and the fact that he weighs less than 210 pounds is not going to affect his injury situation in the NFL. We think he's going to be an Iron Man, and he's not too small to be a starting quarterback, and he's never going to get injured. None of these guys are ever going to get injured. We only need 2 quarterbacks on the Cleveland Browns. Thank you very much. Go away, Village Elliott. Go away, Oracle. You can't tell the future. Well, you know what? I did foretell the future. I did tell you what was going to happen. I told you what was wrong, that you cannot have a quarterback room with too few people in it. You have enough spaces on the practice squad that you should have been preparing for this event. That there's not that many backup guards and stuff that you need to use all those roster spots. You could have had at least 2 roster spots on the practice squad for quarterbacks just to train them up in the playbook in case you needed somebody in case of an emergency. Now, why don't you go out and sign Garrett Gilbert like I've been asking for 3 years? Just get him ready in case you need him. And by the way, you do need him. You needed him ever since week 2. You needed to have somebody that can come in and just execute plays, hang on to the football, let the defense win the game for you. This is a defensive team. This is not a team that's going to win by throwing footballs all over the ball yard and carrying out trick plays. The quarterback room is inadequately staffed. There's not enough people that know the playbook that can run an offense for the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco, maybe he's in shape and maybe he's able to step right in and start heaving bombs. I just think it's going to take him a while before he can actually be in shape. I just really don't know. We just saw videos of him with soft tosses, and that's all that we really saw him do. We just really haven't seen any evidence that he's ready. I do not question his ability. I do question whether he's able to absorb the playbook and whether he's able to achieve the football conditioning that's necessary to survive in the NFL. I just don't know. I do know that with only 2 healthy quarterbacks, well, actually really only one, that would be PJ Walker, is the only one that's guaranteed to be able to run around and survive for 4 quarters. They should be hiring another quarterback on the practice squad right now, and they're not doing it. This is ridiculous. Don't even say that, oh my gosh, we didn't think that there would be any need to hire another quarterback. Who would have thought that? Well, the Oracle is telling you that's exactly what you should be doing right now. Hello. Thank you very much for listening to me. Hope it made some sense to somebody, especially somebody in the Browns front office. But, the gift of prophecy is often accompanied by the curse that people will never believe the prophecy. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. I'll talk to you again very soon.